Grand rising, grand rest, grand afternoon, grand evening, wherever you are, beloved cosmic familia. In this video and session, we're going to go back into storytelling for the Starseeds, going back into the Rose Oracle today. This I'm most excited about. Embracing the child self. Let's do it. It looks as though in our last video we left off with Sub Rosa, hidden in plain sight, learning and teaching. So we're going to touch a little bit on that before we go back into the deck. Mother Rose, you were present long before we, and you will continue after we're gone. Bless this oracle and all who use it. May it be a gateway for all to return to ourselves, the earth, and each other. May our connection with the voice of our soul be made stronger with every use. May all who touch it feel cherished, held, loved, softened, and seen. May it deliver insight, understanding, compassion, and guidance that's in the highest interest of all beings, past, present, and future. When I'm holding space for another, help me to step out of the way and invite others to connect with the wisdom that exists deep within them. Guide me and all who use it to embrace our ever-changing true nature and the seasons of our lives with compassion, understanding, and grace. Show us how we can plant ourselves here more deeply than ever before. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it is, so it is, so it is. All right. Let's touch a bit on Sub Rosa before we go back into the deck. Let's see here. The Sub Rosa 126. Hidden in plain sight, mysteries, learning and teaching. The rose has been a symbol of secrecy for millennia. The ancient Romans wore rose garlands on special occasions, and when these were hung above important meeting places, the conversations that took place beneath were considered sub rosa, or under the rose. It was understood that things said under the rose would be kept secret and not repeated. There's also an image of the ancient god Horus sitting with a rose and holding his finger to his lips, symbolizing silence about the deep mysteries. The phrase sub rosa may have its origins in ancient Greece, where in 477 BCE a secret negotiation took place in a building attached to the Temple of Minerva, which is the temple seen in the card. On the building's roof was a rose garden, hence sub rosa. Another otherworldly theory of the phrase's origin is linked to Eros, who is said to have bribed Harpocrates, the Greek god of silence and secrecy, with a rose to persuade him to remain silent on the affairs of the gods. This card represents the great mysteries that are available for us to uncover and remember. Secrets that are waiting to be found, teachings that our soul might be ready to learn. Look beyond what your eyes can see and dig a little deeper. You're here to uncover lost wisdom, ancient secrets, and deep mysteries. Are you being called to study the great mysteries, to live the great questions, and step into your role as a teacher, guide, or mystic? Are you being called to question things and unearth truths unknown? The inquiry is, what are you being called to study, learn more about, or unearth? We shall see. Here we go into the Rose Oracle. We have 2 cards here. Beginning with healing is happening. You're not broken. Trust the process. It's safe to soften. Healing is happening. You're a part of the ever-changing nature of life. Ever-changing, ever-changing, ever-changing. Change is your natural state. The rose knows that you were never meant to stay the same, to be one single shape, size, or way. You're not normal, and that's normal. You're always becoming more and more of who you truly are. Healing is happening every moment of every day. You're returning to your true state every moment of every day. Call in your support team of people who can hold you in that, who can trust in the grace of your natural state. A true healer knows that they're not the one doing the healing, rather they're holding the vision of the return to wholeness, knowing that wholeness isn't a stagnant state. When you embrace all parts of life, from the ecstasy to the agony, the joy to the grief, the bloom to the fall, the bud to the rose hip, you'll realize that healing is always happening and life is on your side. No one is immune to the polarity of this human experience. The only way through it is to embrace all parts of it, the light and the shadow. And as any healer or initiate knows, the only way to the light is to embrace the shadow within. The shadow and sometimes the pain is a portal to your liberation. You're not broken, you're healing. Healing is happening. Trust in the timing of life. And lineage of the rose, moved by the goddess, here for this soul call and gather. These times, these changing, divisive times, your soul chose to be here right now for this. You're part of a collective team led by the goddess, by the mother of us all, to reweave the thread of the rose back into the tapestry of humanity, to make spaces where all people feel cherished and safe, to heal and be healed from the destructive patterns of patriarchy, to be part of the return of the goddess to the earth. If you've been doubting your path, you're being called to look within and trust the whispers and weavings from caverns deep. The way of the mystic rose is walked by few and known by heart, not mind. Try not to overthink, rather trust the threads that are woven deep. This card contains within it a confirmation of the inner call and a reassurance that you're not alone in it. The mother of us all thanks you for being part of these changing times for humanity. She acknowledges your devotion to doing your best to support yourself and others in the journey back home, to themselves, to each other, and to the earth. She wants you to know that she is available to guide you every step of the way. Speak, sing, and dance with her. You are led. You are led. You are led. How are you being called to commit more deeply to humanity and the earth? We shall see. We shall see. wastelands. Sustainability. Slow down and tend your garden. There's an anonymous 13th century French myth in the form of a poem called The Elucidation that tells the story of a king who abuses the land he's supposed to be the guardian of. The king breaks the trust of the well maidens, the spirits who were guarding the wells of the land, and they flee. The water runs dry, the plants wilt, and the land, which was once rich and fertile, became barren, creating a wasteland. This is the most powerful card in the deck. It's a wake-up call for us to stop the destructive behavior that's resulting in us becoming brittle and unable to live in a sustainable way. The sacred feminine is abundant. She knows that the earth can provide for what we need and that she doesn't need to take more than she needs. She tends the earth around her and within her. She's the keeper of balance and the protector of all living things. The rose has seen civilizations come and go. Empires rise and fall. In this card, she's delivering an urgent message to slow down and stop any way of being that's not sustainable, to release anything that's making us brittle, to tend our garden, our bodies, and the earth around us. What way of being is no longer sustainable for you? What ways are no longer sustainable for you? Healing the mother line and the Holy Grail. Healing, ancestral work, mother line, and growing up. We're living in a time of complex healing, especially when it comes to the mother line. Collectively, we're facing the intergenerational trauma that colonialism and patriarchy have imprinted on us. So many born to mothers who were not mothered themselves. It's time to mend the chain. So many of our ancestral lines have experienced brutal persecution and separation from the sacred feminine. We've been starved of the Great Mother's unwavering embrace and instead told to look only to a male god in the sky. So many were not taught to see the sacred in all things and the feminine in all her stages as sacred, powerful, and holy. This way of living has gone on for too long, and we're all being called to heal it on behalf of our ancestors, past and emerging. Healing is possible. It may not be straightforward or easy, but it's possible. It can be felt forward and back. Your ancestors, past and future, are singing with you. It's time to release our mothers all the way back for what they may not have been able to give, to find a way to cultivate the loving mother within, to treat ourselves with the same deep reverence, adoration, understanding, and compassion that we longed for all along. You can be that for yourself today. You can meet yourself where others could not. And as you do, Future ancestors will bless you for finding the courage to release and heal deep. I reach all the way back to the original mother, and I set all the mothers and myself free. Repeat after me. I reach all the way back to the original mother, and I set all the mothers and myself free. Now let's look into the Holy Grail. Stop the endless searching, inner quest. The Holy Grail is a mysterious, long-sought relic about which stories have been told through the ages. Some believe it holds the key to eternal life and divine union. Many devote their lives to discovering and possessing it. It features in the legends of King Arthur, the knight Galahad achieved the vision of God through the Grail. In Christian mysticism, the Grail is the cup used by Jesus at the Last Supper and afterward by Joseph of Arimathea to catch blood at the crucifixion. It was taken to the Isle of Avalon and buried on Chalice Hill, which turned the chalice well waters red. Pilgrims travel from all corners of the world today to drink from these healing waters. Some believe the Grail legend predates Christ and was inspired by the wells and cauldrons of Welsh and Celtic mythology. The Holy Grail is the ultimate spiritual quest. Many see quests as physical places to journey to, conquer, or find. But perhaps the Grail is an invitation to go inward, to connect with the grace within, to find it without. To realize that this journey of drinking from the eternal well is to find it deep within as the part of us that cannot be extinguished. Perhaps this is why the rose is a symbol that goes with the Grail, her petals calling us to spiral in. For it's there that we find the nectar of all that we've searched for, patiently waiting for us to return to it. Stop looking without. Stop the endless searching. Turn your gaze within. How can you go within and focus more on what really matters? I'm feeling guided to go for one more card. One more card, please. The Great Mother. Surrender to the mystery. Fall into her arms. The Great Mother. The Great Mother ushered you in when you took your first breath, and she'll be there when you draw your last. She knows how challenging life on earth can be, that at times being human can be painful, lonely, and confusing. That the polarity and separation can be difficult when your soul remembers the oneness of Source, but at the same time it can be incredibly glorious and sweet. We often see things as either good or bad. When things go well, we'll make it mean that everything's okay, and when things don't work out, then perhaps we've done something wrong or have something to fix. We've forgotten that life on Earth isn't like that. Polarity is at the core of the Earth experience, and it's through the polar extremes that we grow the most. We're not meant to avoid the night, the shadow, and the winter. This life is but a single breath in the inextinguishable existence of your experience as a soul. Hand over your worries, hurt, sorrows, fears, and doubts to the Great Mother. Lay them on her altar. Return to the sureness of the soil. Fall fully into her arms. Surrender to the mystery woven through it all. Remember that while these extremes are difficult, they can also be magnificent. That unrestrained joy is closer to grief than we think. And perhaps the more wildly the pendulum of your life swings, the more you can say, I have truly lived. I'm ready to embrace the extremes of my life. I lay all that I am carrying onto the altar and fall into the Great Mother's arms. Repeat after me. I'm ready to embrace the extremes of my life. I lay all that I'm carrying onto the altar and fall into the Great Mother's arms. And I'm feeling guided to end it there. Thank you so very much for tuning in, beloveds, and brightest blessings.